Hello folks, so let's go ahead and try to discuss about the new Anubhava Mantapa, which is basically a foundation stone has been recently laid out in Karnataka, and this is generally what is called as the first parliament of the world. So Anubhava Mantapa was something which was designed by the Vasana, and this is considered as the world first parliament. So if you have been following these speeches of Pradhan Mantri, so we have the Basavana statue in Delhi also. At the time of inauguration of that statue, he said that the India is a democratic nation by default. That way back centuries earlier, we were already following the democratic system, and that democratic system is what is was known as the Anubhava Mantap. So in this video, we will discuss about what is Anubhava Mantap and how it is going to come up in Karnataka, and also we will discuss more things about the life of Basavana. So this is going to be the structure of this video. So let's start. The project will showcase the 12th century Anubhav Mantapa, often referred to as first parliament of the world I just mentioned, and it is going to be established in Basava Kalyan. So that is the place in Karnataka where the Anubhava Mantapa is going to get established. The building will adopt the Kalyani Chalukya style of architecture, or what is also known as the Western Chalukyas. So Kalyani Chalukya, so that is actually the architecture which was prominent at the time when Basavana was there, and the Kalachuris, actually the Kalachuris of Kalyanis were the dynasty which were in power when Basavana was going ahead with his Bhakti movement. So at that time, the Kalyani architecture will be followed. So just little bit of your reference that Western Chalukya's architecture was actually very prominently found in the Hosala earlier architecture also. So in fact you can see the Hosala architecture takes a lot of features from the Western Chalukya architecture. These are the few things that you should know. This foundation has already been laid, and going forward this Anubhava Mandap will come into picture. Now let's move forward and try to understand more about the Basavana. So this is an important topic from your GS paper 1 art and culture. So in that there are various historical figures, or you can understand the people especially during the Bhakti movement who have laid out various movements in their area, as well as they have propounded against various social norms which were prevalent at that time. So let's talk about Basavana now. So he spread the social awareness through his poetry, popularly known as the Vachanas. So his poetry is called as Vachanas, and through that he tried to create awareness among the social masses. On the other hand, you must have known about Kabira. So Kabir also was a Bhakti saint, and he also tried to create social awareness through the use of what is called as dohas. So in that regard, Basavana used vachanas. Basavana rejected gender or social discrimination, superstition, and ritual. So he was actually very much against the ritualism. He did not feel that the ritualism which was propounded by the Brahmins are things to go by, and social discrimination should not exist in the word as of his envision. The word he thinks of is free of social discrimination, all castes are equal, no gender specific foundation are there. So that kind of a word he actually talked about. As a leader, he developed and inspired a new devotional movement named Veera Shiva. So basically they are called as the ardent follower of Shiva. So ardent follower of Shiva. So if I just told you that Basava didn't believe that ritualism is something which could lead you to God, and instead he's propounded other things. So for an example, if you are a devotee of Shiva, instead of following ritualism, you can carry some symbols, for an example linga along with you. So this is how the Vasavana factor of Veera Shiva goes into picture. Vishwasara is the first Karnataka in whose honor a commemorative coin has been minted in recognition of his social reforms. So this is also important that there has been a coin minted in the recognition of the various contribution made by the Basavana in the case of social reform. So gender, which was again a very prominent issue over there, women were not allowed to reach out to places, and then there was rampant social discrimination based on caste. In that regard, a lot of social reforms were brought about by the Basavna at that time. Important movement which he actually started is known as the Sharana movement. So this is again important. Just remember, Sharana movement was started by the Basavna. So Sharana movement, he presided over, attracted people from all caste, and like most strand of the Bhakti movement, produce a corpus of literature, the Vachanas, that unveiled the spiritual universe of the Veera Shiva saints. So we just talked about the Veera Shiva, they were the ardent follower of Shiva, and that movement is called as the Sharana movement. The egalitarianism of Basavana Sharana movement was too radical for its time. Now, this is again something which was like he was way ahead of its time when he was talking about the social reform. He set up the Anubhava Mantapa, which I just talked about. It is called as the world first parliament, which means that is again it was way ahead of its time, where the Sharanas drawn from different castes and communities gathered and engaged in learning and discussion. So this is what it was like, a open discussion forum where the people from various castes, from various background could come up and discuss on various issues. So that was the basic concept of the Anubhava Mantapa. Sharanas challenged the final bastion of caste order. They organized a wedding where the bridegroom was from a lower caste and bride from a Brahmin. So this is something which is considered very appealing at the time to the Brahman, to the upper caste. So they used to consider that lower caste cannot marry a bride from the upper caste. And the Sharanas movement actually tried to break it at its very core, where they actually went ahead and organized a wedding where the bridegroom is from a lower caste but the bride is a Brahmin. So such kind of social reforms was carried out under the Sharana movement. So I hope you have understood this video. This topic is important from your GS paper 1 perspective. In your prelims also at times UPSC has asked about the various prominent figures from the Bhakti movement. So that is important from that aspect of your examination as well.